broken, dismayed and alone, doors were shut and nowhere to turn. Shattered dreams and hopelessness, and then you came to my rescue.
I will sing His praises.
Celebrate Him.
Celebrate His goodness.
I will make His name known. Famous for Him. Yeah, I will sing.
I will sing His praises.
Celebrate Him.
Celebrate His goodness.
I will make His name known. Famous. Yeah. All right, ready? Are you ready? Your greater love has no man than this. He gave His life so that I can live. You changed my life from a brand new man. I'm glad you came to my rescue. Give it to you. Say, I will sing His praises. Celebrate His goodness. Celebrate His goodness. Make His name so famous to the earth. For He is my God. He's my God. Get your African shoes. Let's go. Give it. Hey. Let's go. Some swagger. You guys are fun. Let's go. Some swagger. And this, He gave His life so that I can live. To change my life from a brand new man. I'm glad you came to my rescue. Give it to you, we say. I will sing His praises. Celebrate His goodness. Celebrate His goodness. Make His name so famous to the ends of the earth. For He is my God. He's my God. Get your African shoes. Let's go.
Good evening and welcome to Family Night. Woo! Hey, 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 so good to see so many of you already anticipating, already on the timeline. My goodness, it's such a joy. My name is Pastor M. Next to me is the beautiful Pastor Carol. And we get to host Family Night together, and such a joy to also have with us our first family discipleship group. And I'm going to introduce them in a bit. Hey, if your members are not yet here, if your discipleship group members are not yet here, tell them it's time for Family Night. Tell them it's time to start. And I'm going to start all the way to our left. All the way to where we have an amazing couple, the Kilonzis. And yes. And they are an amazing, amazing couple. They're the incoming, incoming network leaders for the Hill City Network. And we're really, really excited to have them here. Come on. They're even wearing white. Yeah. And so good to see you guys. And much love to you guys. And then, of course, on our next, just immediate next to us on our left, another amazing couple, the Couriers.
What an amazement.
And the Couriers are the incoming sure that you can hear us. So somebody just type this to the group and say, sorry guys, we're working on the sound. And hopefully it'll be back in a sec. So are we back? Can you hear us? Please tell us if you're back. Mic check, 1, 2, mic check. Can you hear us? Please let us know. I'm waiting for your comments to tell us if you can hear us. You seem to have lost our sound.
Someone has said it's back.
We can hear you. Thank you, Omar Suleiman. It's so good to see you, Pastor Sule. Sound is back. So yes, I was saying, listen, we're so excited. If you're a visitor, welcome to the Mavuno Family Night. It's a time when we come together every week for a time of discipleship conversations. A time when we actually just come around God's Word, see what God is saying to us as a community. We talk about the vision of Mavuno and where God is leading us moment by moment. And so if you're a visitor, we're glad you're here. You're not here by coincidence. So feel free, pull up a stool, grab a snack, join us, and let's just have some great conversations together this evening. So one of the things that is going on is we have some people who we need to mention. They're the first people on on our podiums today. We want to start with YouTube because I hear there's a great story of a comeback.
Oh,
on
yes.
YouTube. Pastor
Oh,
Faith, you want
yes.
to tell us who made the comeback here?
It's Nigel Bomet, new Donholm DG, Mavuno Donholm, Mashariki. Nigel, it's so good to see you back on the podium.
Nigel, you're back. I think Pastor Milton says we need a doping test. I mean, like, how do you consistently do this, Nigel? You and Pastor Carol Siuma, who is kind of behind you today, and then Lois Kiara. Somehow you guys are like the OGs of YouTube. I don't know how you do it. We're going to have to do like doping tests for you guys. So that's some amazing leaders there. Who is on Instagram? Pastor Victor, you
On
can tell us.
Instagram, we have Dan Kungoge representing Morios and Brabes all the way from Mavuno Ruaka.
Wow.
What a DJ.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm not surprised it's Mavuno Raka, but it's great to hear a new name that has been mentioned there. And then one last, which
Facebook.
is Facebook. Pastor Mills, you could tell us who's on Facebook.
Yeah, this is Stephen Mudoka Kilo, Teacher Steve from Mavuno Downtown, and Shekabo DG. Hey!
Wow.
Gosh.
I love it. I love it. Oh, man, that's nice. And that's so good. I mean, that's Raka again. Downtown, sorry. I don't know. He says Kilo, so I don't know if it's Kilo or Kilonzi or... He just says Kilo. So we don't know whether he's related to any significant people in the room. I hear we are on TikTok today.
Wow,
Like
what a TikTok.
Family night is in the next generation. Are there any... Okay, I don't even want... I'm even afraid to ask who's on TikTok in the room. Pastor Kuri, no, really. So, but I'm sure you're on TikTok, so you'll be telling us who's first on TikTok.
Yeah.
If there is anybody on TikTok, please let your relatives know they can actually finally join Family Night, because we are on TikTok, y'all. So good. So, hey, I mean, this is a great new week, and we have some great conversations going on. We just came back from something, an amazing weekend. We call it Back to Basics. It's our marriage enrichment weekend at Mavuno. And this year round, instead of one retreat, we actually had 3 Back to Basics events happening back to back. And you see what I just did there. And I mean, it was so interesting because there was one going on in Mombasa, there was one going on in Sagana, and then another one going on in Rongai. It's like you need visas to go to all of them. And let's just hear from you guys who are organizing them, because I know there was one with the Lifeway Network.
Yes.
Pastor Godwin, tell us, what was that like? I mean, it was the
Yes.
first time the Lifeway Network was organizing a Back to Basics marriage retreat.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pastor M. And first of all, the inaugural TikTok Live, there's someone on the podium.
Wow.
She's called Royal Katie from Trinity DG Lifeway Network.
Lifeway has been missing in action. It's just
need a TikTok.
You just need a TikTok
Now
to be there.
Snapchat will kill
Okay.
everything.
Come on, let's do this.
Anyway, so yeah, we had the Lifeway Network Back to Basics retreat, and we had about 15 couples that we went down to Sagana, Havila Resort, where Mavuno Sagana is located.
Nice.
And Mavuno Sagana were gracious to host us there. Such an amazing space. And it was so refreshing. One highlight that I'll mention is, of course, being shepherds and being disciples of these couples. You know, we've realized that this has not been a very easy year for many people in their marriages, including ourselves. And so it was so refreshing seeing couples that, you know, have gone through a lot relationally, being refreshed and coming out of there feeling loved. They've been talking about that since then. And even today, as we continue even with this week, there are many couples that are still reeling on the moments that we had there. But that God turned around situations, and God has empowered couples, and God has strengthened marriages. That was my biggest highlight.
love it.
Yeah, and also the networking amongst the couples. People that didn't know each other, some of them that didn't know each other at a deeper level, became friends, people that can now work together and keep each other accountable.
So good, so good. So that was a Lifeway Back to Basics.
yeah.
We had one with the South Network. I think it was also the inaugural one as well. And Pastor Zed, you can
yes.
tell us what your highlight was from that one.
So the first highlight was the fact that we had our very first one.
Yeah.
For me, that was a highlight.
So good.
Yeah, and I think one of the other highlights that we had is that we let loose of ourselves and we danced.
Come on.
Yeah,
Fun.
and most couples, when interacting with them, most of them shared and said it's actually been a while since they let loose. Yeah, so for me, that was the biggest highlight.
There was a lot of joy in
There
the
was a
house.
lot
There
of,
was
yes,
a lot
happiness,
of fun
yes.
and happiness. And I know that was similar to the one you did
The
back to
Hill
basics
City.
in Mombasa with the Hill
Yes.
City Network. Tell us your highlight.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, we had a phenomenal time, and one of my favorite things, and we had many really exciting moments. But one of my favorite things was there's a discipleship group called Victorious. I believe it's Victorious DG that had most of the couples in the group actually came for Back to Basics.
Wow.
And so it was so exciting just seeing, I constantly was seeing them sort of gravitating together. We had another DG that had, I think, 2 couples there. And I remember just thinking, this is so rich for, for these guys to be walking the discipleship journey together, including in marriage.
Come on.
But, and for this one DG, I think about 90% of the couples in the group were present, and I could tell they were having lots of fun. Yeah, and then I guess for me now, when I thought about it after, what I see is, they can hold each other accountable. They can say, oh, we learned this, we took this out. They can continue enriching one another, even as they bring the messages back to the guys who didn't make it to travel. That was really exciting for me to see on top of everything else.
And I mean, we had many, overall, there must have been over 100 couples that were out in the different retreats. It was such a joy to have so many people having their relationships enriched. The reason I wanted to highlight this is just to say, listen, whether you're single and hoping to get married, or you're married already, good marriages don't just happen. We've said that that's actually something that is a gift for this house, something that we believe God has given us in this house. But you want to make a commitment that you invest in your marriage consistently. And so just a big congratulations for all the couples who went. Thank you. A big shout out to all the teams that tirelessly put this together. I know that it cost you guys a lot. There was just a lot of effort that went to making sure the couples had so much fun. And we're just so proud of every one of you. And I just want to encourage you. By the way, if you are single, just say, I'll be there. Like when you get married, just make sure these are things you're investing in, because a lot of people, they don't invest and then they hope for a different result. And so I really, really love that you guys are, for the many, many couples who are able to, actually Pastor Kara and I were able to join one of those retreats, and we had a blast. It was a lot of fun. So hey, this is what's going on. I want to just jump into, first of all, make an announcement before we jump into the conversation of today, which is that our November gathering is coming up. So I want to give you a save the date. It's 22nd to 23rd, Friday to Saturday, 22nd, 23rd, third weekend of November. So please block that out. It's our last one of the year. And you know what? I was just telling these guys what I really sense. God today just really confirms strongly what we have to talk about. Let me just tell you, it's going to be fire. It's going to be amazing. So you want to be there, just plan the time, take the Friday off, be there, and let's just spend some amazing time. It's going to be out at Hill City for all of you in Kenya, but those of you who are not, will have a link sent to your campuses, and you'll be able to take some time off and do a watch party. Would love to encourage all of you who are not able to travel to be able to do that. So that's what's going to be happening, November gathering, November 22nd and 23rd. So I want to ask you guys a question as we jump into our conversation. What's something you know, and you know that you know and you know? And for you guys in the audience as well, please answer this as well. You can write on the chat. What is something that you know is good for you, but you really struggle to do it? And in fact, most of the times you don't do it, even though you know it's good for you. So something you know it's good for you, but you really struggle. Pastor James, you have a really wicked smile.
No. It's because Pastor Kuria is laughing, so I feel like he should just start us off. He started laughing immediately.
There's a fruit. I don't even know if it qualifies as a fruit or as a test, but there's a thing called popo. Oh my goodness. That thing, let me tell you, I am convinced there is a hell because there is popo. I'm just like, that fruit, I hear people say it's good for you. I hear.
But you don't.
But that fruit, by the way, even when you cut the fruit open and you look, it already is telling you something is wrong on the inside.
Do not eat me.
Even before you go far.
Oh,
so
Lord.
popo is mine for sure.
Popo is actually one of the best fruits. I have to tell you, and I have to tell this, Mavuda, it's actually great for your digestion. If you struggle with indigestion, it's the best thing. If you ever eat meat and you feel bloated, it's the thing that will help you out. It's actually got an enzyme called papillase, and that breaks down all the digestive stuff in your stomach. So if you're ever bloated or you're feeling constipated, it's because you don't like popo. Come on, it's good for you. So I can see a lot of good answers here.
First time, is there like
An
popo
appeal.
flavor of ice cream. There really isn't. That is the truth.
Okay, moving on. I can see Patience saying working out, Brad saying eating healthy, Lynette saying exercise. I think there's a lot of exercise. Reading books. Betty says exercise. You know, I know that Apjo, Pastor Kuria's wife, who was just sharing. In fact, I think Pastor Kuria was just kind of trying to do a smoke screen because his wife is really an exercise freak. She's so fit, and it shows. So, how about you, Pastor Kuria? Do you okay? Let's not even go there. Whether you exercise, confession time.
I think you should be obedient and listen to the father of the house. Just answer the question.
The father of the house is saying you should exercise.
I can see swimming. Lynn says swimming, working out. My goodness. Mavuno, you know working out is good for you and you're not working out. How about the rest of you? What would you? Yeah. You're working out your salvation. Lord help us. Yeah. Anybody want to share? Pastor Zed, you want to tell us what it is?
Yeah. For me, I know drinking enough water is good for me. I was doing it when I was expectant, but right now I'm like, that water. Yeah,
Stay
I know I
hydrated.
need to do it,
Yeah.
but I'm not doing
It's
it.
good for your skin.
Yeah.
It will actually lengthen your lifespan.
Yeah.
Drinking water. But how many people just struggle to do that? Yeah. Pastor James, now you're ready.
I'm ready, and I'm gonna go right for it. Eating well or
Yeah.
eating healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the problem is.
Where do you
the-
stumble? What's your weakness?
My weakness is wheat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a stronghold. It's like I break it. Yeah, I'm like, Yani, the only thing that breaks that stronghold in my life is fasting. Once we come
No
off
wonder
the
you're always
fast,
fasting.
we come out of the fast, I'm like, I will eat wheat only once a week. I will. Oh, lo and behold.
Lord help us. My gosh. I think a lot of people are feeling if Pastor James can struggle, strong. We are good. Pastor Mills, you're going to say you have something like that as well.
Yeah, for me, I feel like God doesn't love me sometimes too much because I don't sleep enough. And He
Yeah.
gives sleep to those whom He loves.
Oh, wow.
So,
So you know sleep is good for you.
I know it's good for me.
But it's not like you choose not to sleep. You want to sleep, right?
I want to sleep, but I just can't sleep.
Wow.
I just can't.
Yeah. Okay, we'll pray for you.
Yeah.
But you know it's good for you, but you just are not able to do it. Yeah. Pastor Carol, you want to say something?
I struggle to do this, although I still do it. That is working out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not something I enjoy, and so I have to put something that I enjoy when I'm working out. And so whether it's listening to a mess, I have to do something.
Wow.
Otherwise, I'll really just not do it.
So you've given a solution. Because a lot of people here wrote working out. Ian Otoma said, working out, and then he said, it's been like 4 years, Bwana. Like, confession is good for the soul, Ian. My goodness. And then Gloria said, Popo, I love so much. Thank you, Gloria. You're straight near the throne room of God. Kawitha Joy says, eating healthy and exercise. My gosh, it's like the whole of Mavuno has this problem. Drinking 8 glasses of water, Mwenda says, wow. Working out, squeeze some lemon on it, even better. Gloria says, yeah, drinking water, squeeze some lemon, it's going to help. I do that, by the way. Reading the Bible daily, Catherine says. I know some people in this room who that's their struggle as well. We're not looking at anyone, so guys don't catch. And then eating a thorn melon. Gosh, that is horrible. Oh, sorry, I should have said that.
Even the first word is terrible.
Thorn. But it's actually good for you, by the way. I've actually got one, if you notice, on the counter. It's cut. And somebody cut it out for me yesterday, and right now I'm trying to figure out how to eat that thing, because I know it's good for me. I'm sure there's a way to eat it. I just haven't figured it out. So, yeah, Warimo says, Kenyans against homework. That's so good. Homework, it's good for you, but it's a hard one. No? That's CBC parents. Let's work out, guys. It's good for you. That's Alexander who says. I think we need to start a Mavuno gym. There's so many of us really are struggling with some of these things. We know they're good for us. I think for me, the one I really struggle with, and I'm so sad to say this online, is I know I should pray more. Like, I really do. I feel like I really need to pray. At my level, you know, you think of all the responsibility and the spiritual capacity you need to be having at this point. And I'm like, I should be praying at least 5 hours a day.
Come on now.
I'll be there. I'll be there. I'm still waiting for, Yeah, but it's interesting because I think every one of us has those things where you're like, I know this one thing would change my life. I know this thing would really help, but it's so hard for me to do it. And we'll come back to that because we're talking about supernatural navigation.
Wow.
And supernatural navigation, this is a month we've been going through this whole roadmap series. For those who haven't been coming to Mavuno, we've been talking, it's a very powerful series because we're really talking about how to get direction for the most important things in life. And it's a great series at the end of the year because it's one of those where you have a chance to assess where you are versus where you're supposed to be. If you remember the first one, we talked about the principle of the path. We said every path has a destination. It's not your intention, it's your direction. That's what's going to take you there. So you might be really passionate about getting somewhere. You're like, oh man, one of these days I'll be eating popo. It's like I'm so psyched. I know I'm going to do it. But it's like as much as you want to do it, I'm going to be exercising. The path you're on is completely on the opposite side of the desire that you have. And desire won't get you there. In fact, I don't know, I've had that conversation with so many people recently. It's like desire is good. But unfortunately, sometimes we substitute desire with intention. And desire will only get you frustrated. Because now you're going to be frustrated in the desire, So it's better to actually be intentional. And then we talked about the principle of danger signs. The prudent see danger and take refuge. The simple keep going and suffer for it. They pay the penalty. I really loved last week because it was such an inspiring conversation. By the way, if you missed last week, that was one of my favorite family nights. We talked about the fact that where you are in life right now is because of the choices that you have made. That how your children are, it's because of choices you've made. How your home is, how your finances are, how your marriage is. Those are choices. Wow. Whether you made them intentionally or you didn't, it's a path that you've been on that has gotten you here. And what a person who is wise does is they look and they say, I don't like where I am, but they don't stop with I don't like. They start with what must I do to get into a different direction. And it's an incredible series. By the way, you can find all these sermons on YouTube. You can also go on my podcast, Pastor M, 254's podcast. You'll find them there as well. I really encourage us let's renew our minds. Let's transform our minds through God's word. Because I feel like today, God, in this season, God is giving us some really powerful instructions about how we must govern our lives. So this week, we're talking about supernatural instruction, the principle of supernatural navigation. And we're saying that the problem with the world we live in, we are so inundated by information. And most of us, we still have this illusion that if I just get more information, I'll make better decisions. If I just knew more, I would not have gotten myself in this problem. I'd have passed my exams better. I'd have done better in my finances. I'd have done better in my investments. If I just knew more, if I just had more knowledge. The point is that knowledge is not what helps us. Every one of us has landed in a place we should not have landed. Yet we knew what the good thing was for us. You knew what it was that would have helped you get to where you needed to be, but you didn't do it. You had the knowledge. YouTube is full of exercise videos and how to exercise more. The information is more available than there ever has been. So the problem we have is not information. It's not information. It's something much deeper than that. And we started looking at the fact that, there's a man who was called Solomon, who was like such an incredible wise person. I think some of you guys preached this sermon on Sundays, and I was talking to Abjo because you preached it, and I asked you the question. You had a really good answer when I asked you the question. What are you enjoying the most about the series?
Yeah, I mean, when I preached it on Sunday, it just occurred to me that King Solomon had he asked God for one thing. Yeah. And he was about 20 years old when he ascended to the kingship of Israel. And I don't know where you were when you were 20, and I don't know what you would have asked God when you were 20. For me, it would not have been wisdom. It would have been maybe a fleet of jaguars, or it could have been a nice life in the Maldives, or something like that. But out of everything, enough money. And he was young enough, but in a sense, he understood that what he needs is not the information, not the advisors. He needs wisdom. Yeah. And I wondered, what would it mean? Because the Bible talks about how King Solomon was the most wise man at that time, and to date there has never been anyone. Yeah. So if you think about Albert Einstein, for example, if you think about all the Nobel Peace Prize winners we've had, if you sort of like sum up their wisdom, he's still wiser than all of them combined.
And the part of the reason was he was wise in everything.
Yeah.
So the guy was a brilliant architect.
Yes,
He was a phenomenal
scientist.
scientist.
Yeah.
He was an incredible. He was a botanist. He was
Botany.
a zoologist. He was a writer, a songwriter, a recording. I mean, he was great on almost all those places. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're thinking this is a man who asked for wisdom. God was actually surprised, pleasantly so, granted him. But then he tells us that even with the wisdom that I have, even with the exposure that I have people who are actually traveling from across the world to come and sit at my feet to listen to this wisdom, that I can't lean on it.
Wow.
And now us here with our little knowledge, we have nothing close to what King Solomon had, yet we go in kifua. Like we go in with our intellect and our experience and our exposure and our knowledge.
Yeah.
And we say that I've been married for 10 years. Surely I know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really convicted. You should do an altar call right now.
No.
I mean, because you're right. I mean, we really rely on. I've been there. I've paid the price. I've got the experience. You know, I can teach because I've done this. And as you're saying, despite the fact that he had all the information at his fingertips, he still said, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths." So he's really teaching us that it's not knowledge, because knowledge he had. He had more knowledge than he needed. In fact, he said more knowledge, it just wearies the soul. He had too much knowledge, but it was not enough. He still says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. I guess maybe part of it for us is, I mean, you're thinking about some of those things that we're supposed to know. I think one of those areas is relationships. Huh? Like, you're supposed to know. I mean, one of the things we're talking about is how, like, for guys, you're supposed to know how to be like this smooth guy. You're supposed to know how to make a girl happy. You're supposed to know how to run a marriage. And everyone looks at you like, of course you know. It's like, of course, even you look at yourself like, I can't ask for help. I don't know how to ask a girl out, or I don't know how to make my marriage work. But it's like we die alone, because it's like I'm supposed to know. You know, it's just this thing of people expect me to know, and even I'm supposed to know. And so we fake it till we make it.
Or not.
Or not. We fake it till we make it or not. Yeah. And we would go so much farther by getting wisdom, by trusting God, by asking God for wisdom, by looking for godly counsel. But we kind of just get stuck in that place. I know how to pray. I know how to write. I know how to teach this. Yeah. I mean, that's such an interesting thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I think I remember, if I can quote you, when we were getting married, you knew that you are God's gift. It's true. And he said that whoever would marry him would be very lucky, just a very lucky girl. Yeah, I guess it was the confidence of.
I mean, and you know, the funny thing is, as you say that, I think most guys have that feeling. It's not like it's not a proud feeling or a brush feeling. It's that feeling of, you know what, me, I'm a nice guy. You know, like I feel like I'm a decent person. Whoever marries me will be happy, just because I'm a nice guy. You know, and truth be told, it's not just men who think like that. It's not just men who think like that. I think every woman I know thinks, you know what, me, I'm a nice person. I mean, I'm decent. I feel like I'll look out. Like, I'm just waiting for that person who deserves the love I have. They'll be so happy. And all that is said out of what? Like, what experience, what do you have that will make someone happy? And for me, the shocking shock was, a few years into our marriage, realizing my wife was completely miserable, and I had no clue what I was doing. It was the most shocking thing in the world. It's like, I honestly don't know what. I wish someone had told me that earlier. They'd have saved me a lot of headache.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And tears for me.
And tears for you as well.
Yeah.
Before I could now finally go and ask for help, I'm like, I have no clue what I'm doing in this marriage.
Yeah.
But I think many times we kind of feel, I should know, you know, and we kind of run into those problems. And even in our marriage issues, when we're having discussions and heated discussions, because you guys are pastors, you don't have robust conversations. When you're having robust conversations, many times you don't ask for help. If you've messed up, many times you don't even want people to know you've messed up. Or am I just speaking about us?
There's a silence.
You guys are looking. There's like a silence, a pin drop silence in the room. Guys have halos.
That silence.
guys have halos.
We're
on
sitting
their
at your
head.
feet.
And it's like you don't want people to be told. You don't want people to know you've messed up. Why? Because you know, like you should know. And it just feels too humbling. It's like I don't want people to think of me this way. So let's keep it like let people continue to think I know, even though I have no clue.
Me, I'm curious to know what Papa Kilo thought when he was, what he thought he knew.
Me, I know I'm messed up.
No, before you knew.
Now you know.
Now you know.
No, I guess it's, there's that dynamic, but also there's actually what you know. For example, you need to forgive. You need to give, you need to embrace, you need to have conversations. And then you realize we don't eat these conversations. So our mouths are moving, but you don't eat conversation. So I remember being soaked into work. Because this was the first time when, so I was such a free guy. So I remember the realization that there's someone else dependent on me to provide. And then then we got pregnant. Though to be fair, she got pregnant, I was in the mix though.
You had something to do with it.
Just so that it's clear. Because of that exercise things people may be saying, I think he's expected again. Anyway, so, I remember just the realization, we need to have a family. We need to be able to, enjoy community as a family. But then there's another weight. And I don't, maybe sometimes it's what you know versus where you currently are sort of deal. And I don't know how to, I guess that's why there is wisdom. That's why we need to go back and ask wisdom. Because sometimes it's not even good versus bad. Sometimes it's both could work in a sense. So asking God for wisdom and direction on which way do we go? Yeah. I think sometimes for people, for someone maybe in the church today, it could be, do I do this? Do I do that? Or what's the middle ground? Or what's the integration? And sometimes I think that's where God's wisdom now is needed. Because there are some that it's clear, this is bad, this is good. So we're not even talking about, should I be entertaining another woman on the side? That's not what you're talking about. It's, should I work? And how many days? Or should I go at home? It's almost between better and great or something. Yeah.
And
one thing that I thought I knew was submission. Because thoughts I knew, and shameless plug, Mama Kilo is releasing her book on submission for all the wives. Submission is not a cuss word; is the title of her book. So please buy it. It's coming out November at the Gathering.
Wow.
Yes. November 22nd and 23rd. For 1,000 shillings, you can get a copy of Submission is Not a Cuss Word by Mama Kilo. So I thought I knew how to submit. It's interesting that during the Rura show, I even washed my husband's feet. What a shock! I washed the feet, and there was a whole.
The Rura show is the ceremonies before the the traditional ceremonies before the wedding. Yeah. Happened once.
It happened once.
But he washed his feet.
And then
what a submissive wife.
at the wedding, I even wrote a poem
about submission
called "Can I Be Your Helper?"
Look at that. What a poem.
Original composition.
I mean, that was a good start.
It was a good start, but Pastor M, it ended there. Yeah. Let me just say, I need to read the book as well. I had the theory. Yeah. It was very cognitive. It was in my head. But the day-to-day practicality of submitting to someone and being told that you're supposed to do it, tension.
Wow.
It was hard.
10 years later.
10 years later, I need that book.
Well, the amazing thing, though, is in 10 years, now you know you need the book. Exactly. And that's the wisdom. That you finally reach the place where you're like, I need help, Because many times, not even knowing you need help is a problem. Yeah. And so wisdom is even being able to say, hey, I need outside help because I can't do this. Yeah. Pastor James, you're going to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say I have a theory on that feeling of, it being a gift to whoever will come your way. I think the challenge is that I think it comes from I'm not like that. So there's a way we are seeing other people living, especially as Christians,
I wouldn't
single
beat my wife.
Christians. Yeah, you're like, you know that there are guys who
I'd
who-
never
who-
insult a woman.
Yeah, yeah.
I was brought up to
Can you
value.
can you imagine how good I will be to the person I'll end up
Yeah.
with, because
I
I'm
even go
not.
to church and I
yeah,
sit up
yeah.
in
I love the Lord. I'm serving God, and so those things, you know, they're the ones that sort of push us in that place. And so for a single person watching this, you know, maybe there are even people you've been turning down because you're like, you don't know what this is. What the wisdom that needs, one of the outcomes of wisdom, I think, would then be humility. The humility to know, you know, what Abjo is saying, which is, I don't know everything.
Man of God, you're getting personal.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know everything about how to, you know, to honor a wife, a woman who becomes my wife. What we found in marriage is that, you know, everyone is unique. Everyone is different. We are all bringing in brokenness and so on and so forth. And so that confidence, you know, it didn't help.
You know, I once had a conversation. We had a conversation with a classmate who was Indian. And her parents, she just showed us a picture. She was a good friend and had a picture of a really handsome guy. We said, "Oh, you're dating?" She said, "No, I just got this picture in the morning. This is my husband-to-be. My parents sent it to me." And we're like, she was called Annie. Annie, how can you accept this?
Barbaric culture.
These barbaric cultures. How does your parents choose for you? You know what she said? She said, "My parents have been married, I think at the time it was 30 years. My parents have been married 30 years. They know so much about marriage. What do I know? I trust them." Okay, first of all, I didn't even have an answer for her. I mean, it threw me for a loop. I mean, in retrospect, I look back and I'm like, she knew that she didn't know. Because I think our dating culture gives you the picture that you know, but you don't know. You know? So I'm just saying this to everybody out there who is in the dating culture or thinking about getting into it. You don't know. I'm trying to help you to be like Annie, just to know you don't know. So ask for help. You know, get the help of your mentors, of your disciples, because you actually don't know. And I wish somebody told us that early. Yeah.
And I think I'm a living proof of that, that very line of explanation, line
Apostle.
of thought. So we did our door just before getting married. I think it was a year before we got married. And there is a week indoor that is called Roses to Dishes. Yeah? Is it? Yeah. And then no more drama. And so it's talking about, you know, the different seasons. We learned about the different seasons of marriage and how, you know, in most cases, in most marriages, you go through seasons. The first year to the second year, it's a dream stage. Then you go to the drama stage. So I remember we used to, I think the first time we did Noah, that first time, because we were engaged yet to get married, we were just in this bubble where we are like, hey, these guys have issues. Then you're listening to all the facilitators, you're almost even saying, I want to pray for them. These guys have issues. It can never be me. It can never be us. And right at that moment, we were drinking love from each other's eyes. and I remember we got married, and the first day of our marriage was sweet. I mean, the butterflies that were in the stomach now are all over her face. I'm looking at her, it's all rosy and everything. And then the second year of our marriage is when the drama checked in.
Come on.
And I remember, if I can give a very brief story, there's a time my wife, Noel, went on a work trip to Masai Mara. And she went on a Friday. She went on a Friday, and at that time I was serving in Mavuno Lavington, in Mavuno Kids. And so we parted ways in town on Friday morning, and I went to work. And she spent the weekend there. Then I was so immersed in ministry. That weekend we had a friend that had lost a brother. And so I was so immersed in ministry in church, but also visiting with a friend that had lost their brother. And so by Sunday, long story short, by Sunday she's coming back home, and she calls me while in Narok, about 2 hours away from Nairobi. And she calls me and says, I'm coming home. And in my head, I figured out how I'm going to head back home very fast and wash the dishes that she left on Friday. Poor me, the event ends late. It was a fundraiser for a friend. The event ends late, and I find her at home.
Washing the dishes.
Washing the dishes. I open the door, she doesn't even turn. And then she gives me this one-worded answers. How are you? Good. And I'm like, what have I done? what has this amazing man in ministry done? After a long day of ministry, what surely fruitful day. I've come from a visitation. What is the problem?
Served the Lord.
Do you know she didn't talk to me for 1 week?
Oh.
And in my head, I was like, it could be the dishes, but maybe there's something else. Ladies and gentlemen, we transition from roses to dishes real fast. That's, that's the year that we signed up we signed up to facilitate Ndoa. And now we were so keen. We were like, tell us. What do we need to know? We are now deep in drama. Take two.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a really good-
So
it's a great
we were
story.
not wise in the first time, but this
Yeah.
time now we were like, we need help.
And I guess many times what we do is when we're in the ditch is when we realize we need help.
Yeah.
And what Solomon is telling us is, don't wait until you crash. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight.
Yeah.
Because you see, what's happening is your path is crooked and you fall in the ditch, and then you cry out for help. But it's like, trust God. Like ask God for wisdom. And it sounds fluffy, asking God for wisdom. It sounds more practical to sit down, write your critical plan, write your objectives, write who's in charge of what, assign those tasks. Strategy that's a lot more tangible. Yeah. This thing of stopping to fast and pray over this thing, it just feels like it's intangible. In fact, many times what we do is first we do the whole strategy thing. When it's done, just before you go, you're like, okay, God, please bless this thing. And you go. And Solomon's like, the wisest man who has all the knowledge and all the wisdom says, guys, you're getting the thing wrong. Trust in the Lord.
Yeah. I remember, I think this weekend we're talking about high shame families and low shame families. And with high shame families, I think the difference between the two is that with high shame, when you do something wrong, it is attached to your identity. You are wrong. And you're the problem. And so when something goes wrong, you find it hard to ask for help. You find it hard, to do anything. Whereas with a low shame, such families have separated the issues. This is the wrong you have done, but you're not wrong. So if you come from a high shame family, and that's what we were saying, then you will find it very difficult to ask for help. You find it very difficult to even seek wisdom, because in your mind it is, I should know, and if I don't know, there's something terribly wrong with me. And I feel that's where people get stuck, when you know that things are not working and you're still finding it very difficult to ask for help.
So powerful because, allow me to say this, and this is actually something I hope I don't want to offend anybody, but as I was in the marriage retreats, one of the things I thought is, these things self-select. Many of the couples who come are couples who already know the value of their marriage. Many of the couples who really need to be there are the ones who are not able to prioritize it. The ones who need it. I'm not saying there's some people who don't need it. All of us need it. But many times the people who you can tell are going to crash are the ones who are not asking for help. And I think it's such a powerful thing to begin to understand. I need to understand my background. What is it that makes me feel that I can't ask for help? If I come from a high shame family, like Pastor Caro is saying, I feel like if I've messed up, then I must be evil. There's something wrong with me. People will look down on me. So I don't want to admit that I've messed up. So you'll do anything you can just to be like, let's pretend everything's okay, until the thing crashes and it's too late. And one of the things that I completely believe is there's no marriage that cannot be saved. I really believe it. I believe that there's no marriage that is too far that Jesus can't save it. In fact, the best marriage I've ever come across, and I think I've shared this sometimes when we've taught about marriage, the best marriage I've ever come across was from a couple where the guy had been an alcoholic for 20 years, had completely messed his marriage, sold all their, he had taken their family into poverty, messed completely. The first 20 years of their marriage was like that. And when the Lord saved their marriage, it became a marriage better than any marriage I'd ever seen. And I'd grown up around couples who are committed to each other. And I think it was just a thing where But I'm just saying, you know what? You have to ask for help. And maybe what happens is part of the I know that I don't know enough about marriage. That's why I need mentor couples and to go for Noah Fest and to go for Back to Basic Retreat. I know that I don't know enough about business. So I'm going to ask God for wisdom. And I'm going to submit all my plans. Imagine it doesn't say, it says in all your ways. So it means as I'm hiring, I pray for wisdom. As I'm making a business decision, I want to fire somebody, I pray for wisdom. As I'm planning a staff meeting, I pray for wisdom. It means it's almost like daily. I pray for wisdom for my marriage, for my office. I can't live without wisdom. It means I can't enter the day without knowing what I'm going to do. Because it just means I'm going to walk around as a guy who thinks he knows. But I'm actually admitting whenever I show up at prayer, I actually know that I don't know.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just going to say that for me, I got married when I was in my mid-30s. I was 35 when I got married. And I think one of the things that I see with people, but I think especially with men, is this fierce individualism and this desire to get it right on our own. I want to figure it out. It's the same way when you're driving. You're like, okay, I'm hearing you telling me turn right, but I have a feeling that left is the way to go. So the lady on maps is telling you left, but you're like, no, I think right is. So I find that what happens is, I think there's just like a pride of life that we have for, I want to figure this thing out. But then also I think there's a place where we think, I'm different. I'm different from other people. Okay, I know other people went down that road. so I am a single girl, and I've seen other people move in with their boyfriends, and I've seen them go the wrong direction. But there's a place where I tell myself, me, I'm not like them. Yeah. Me, I'm different. And that's that fierce individualism for, it's about me. I am different. And as a result of that, then you go down paths, even though there's information, even though there's knowledge, even though there's wisdom from other people's lives, and maybe even from your own life and past relationships that you've been in, I think there's this desire to figure things out for ourselves. Yeah. And that's why what Solomon is saying in this passage, it's so counterintuitive for us. Lean not on your own understanding. I'm like, who else will I lean on? Because I want to figure it out. Yep. So if I'm at the workplace and I have a boss and he's given me a task, I'm like, I don't want to keep going back to his door knocking and asking him, how do I do this? I'm like, let me figure it out for myself. Yeah. And I think that pride becomes a significant trap for many people. I think especially for men who are like, I've got this. Yeah. I know. I've seen what happened in your life, but I'll figure it out. I'll go down the exact same route that you went down, but I'll come out at a different place. I'll get to a different destination somehow. And I think that's one of the big traps that we fall into.
Wow. Yeah. Lean not on your own understanding.
I don't know. I thought maybe I could share some practicals for some single people who are watching.
Wow.
So I think there are a couple of things that I don't even know how I sort of stumbled onto them, but there are things that I did before I got married. So I remember, I met Pastor Dorcas. We were on the internship at Mavuno Church. I'm just putting that out there. It's an excellent place to meet people. I don't know if we have a link. Anyway. And so we met and, we became friends. And then we became better friends. And at some point we knew, there's something going here. And I remember at some point she was a bit frustrated because at the point where we were both absolutely certain that we are interested in a relationship that will lead to marriage. At that point, when I had gotten there and she had gotten there, I remember saying to her, I said to her, okay, next week I'm going to fast and pray because I need to ask God if this is his thing because it needs to not be our thing. And I think maybe that's what King Solomon is talking about. He's saying, I mean, emotionally we were there. I think for the guys, we needed to make sense logically as well. Like, you know, do I think this is the right person for me? I was there emotionally, I was there logically. But somehow I was able to say, I need God to be in this thing for me as well. Because if I'm looking to do a thing that will be for decades, then that's important to me. And that's the foundation. Wow. And so I remember, you know, Pastor Dorcas likes to share that story, like especially with single ladies, and because she says to them, you need to be able to anchor on a stronger foundation than your own emotions and the emotions of the guy hitting on you. And so that's the thing I think you're saying, Pastor M, of understand you don't know and then ask for help. Yeah. And so for me, I asked for help from God, because what it means now is I can go back to God and say, no, I prayed and you spoke to me and you said, you know, I knew I wanted this girl. I knew this is who I want to spend my life with, but I also got your permission, and I'm persuaded that you spoke to me about it. So that was the first thing.
I love it.
The second thing I don't share very often, but I pointed my, you know, Pastor Dorcas, the girl I was then interested in, I pointed her to two women who had been disciples for me, especially through my campus years. And they didn't necessarily have a relationship with her because we weren't in the same college, we weren't in the same fellowship. But I said to her, if either of these women are uncertain about us as a couple, I will likely not proceed with the relationship. And something had said to me that it is okay to find someone who you know loves you and is committed to you, and then to say to them, this is where I want to go, observe this for me. Yeah. If at some point, like I knew, you know, one of them was then on staff at Mavuno, would actually be, you know, Pastor Dorcas' best mate, one of her best friends now, you know, and, you know, it's that kind of thing. But because of my relationship with them, and I knew that they love me enough that they will pray for me, I could ask that question. I could say, if these guys are, and I didn't even tell them, by the way, but I knew they'll be praying for me. And so I said to her, if they come and say to me, we're feeling a certain type of way about this relationship, for me it would be a strong reason to pause. And so maybe I wanted to make practical. When you say, Pastor M, you know, we need to learn how to ask for help. We need to be able to say, how do we receive that wisdom and guidance from God, including through people that he has put in our lives who care about us and who he has given wisdom.
I love that. I think one of the things that VK said here is, I think it's cultural. Some cultures punish asking questions, which brings a shame. Stop me from getting the help that I need. But what we're really saying is, hey, we need to actually be desperate that we don't know. And listen, I mean, Pastor James talked about, I ask God. And here's a way that you, because it's also easy to hear that and then get confused. How does God speak back? We've always talked about the fact that how does God speak? Number one, he speaks through the impressions he gives us. But number two, he also speaks through his word. So if you're daily reading his word and asking him, he will speak. God actually uses his word to confirm different things. But number three, God uses other people. And many times God has given you an impression or you're getting a sense, and then you get wisdom from godly counselors. And what happens is you're able to hear a consistency where you're able to say, I'm going to take that as God's word. So there are different ways that God will speak. It's not always a vision or a dream, which is also a valid way that God speaks. But many times he'll actually involve the community in giving you counsel. And that's what, when you know, it's easy to hear, trust in the Lord with all your heart and to say, okay, I'm going to pray until God speaks to me. But again, you could be falling for the individualistic trap again, which almost makes it like, I don't want to hear from anyone else until I get my own word. And so it's very important to understand God does speak. He speaks in many ways, and you have to learn to listen for his voice. Now, if you've noticed tonight, we focused a lot on marriage, and somebody might be thinking, oh my gosh, you're excluding us. Listen, you need to know that you don't know. And we actually last week we spoke about parenting. Not everybody in Mavuno is a parent, but you're all going to be there by God's grace. And if not physically, you're going to be spiritual parents. And so you need to understand parenting even though you're not there yet. And this is the thing I want to say. You don't have to be in a place to learn. You don't have to be married to listen to a conversation that speaks to married people, because you should actually be at the place where, like, let me listen because I don't know. And that's kind of what I'm trying to say to us. Let's be curious. Let's be hungry. Let's be people who understand I actually don't know. I need God's guidance. Showing up at that 4:30 prayer meeting may be the difference between making a life amazing decision and crashing because I wasn't there when God gave wisdom. You know, the prayer leader could have said something and I was like, God just spoke to me. Boom, right in the middle. Or somebody shared a testimony and that's exactly what I needed God to use to guide me. And so be hungry for God's wisdom. That's what we're really saying. There's a principle called supernatural navigation. That, you know what? There's human wisdom, but human wisdom results in human results. But when we engage in supernatural navigation, boom, watch this space. I'm a firm believer in divine ideas, and I'm a firm believer in divine connections. Those two forces are they're worth more than money, they're worth more than anything. Good family background, they're worth more than any of that. When you have divine inspiration and divine connections, divine ideas, you'll find that you're able to go 10 times faster than anybody around you. Because that's the way it is. Solomon says, in all your ways acknowledge him, he'll direct your path. Everybody else is going to be going left, right, center. You're going to be going straight to where you're supposed to be going to. Why? Because of that supernatural navigation. And the thing, I just want to conclude with this, the message. I love how it said it. I think we read it on Sunday. It says, trust God from the bottom of your heart. Don't try to figure out everything on your own. Oh my gosh. Listen for God's voice in everything you do, everywhere you go. He's the one who will keep you on track. Don't assume you know it all. Don't assume you know it all, God's people. Run to God. Run from evil. And then it says, here's a promise. Your body will glow with health. Your bones will vibrate with life. Like just humility. That humility of just being willing to get to be rebuked, willingness to get help. It's going to end up in life for you. You're going to avoid so much evil and so many evil detours, and you find yourself heading exactly where you're meant to be going. And so I think that really is what God is saying to us. Listen, one of the things I'd say is, if I guess we've applied this a lot to marriage, and I'm saying, hey, if you're in a marriage right now, just know that you don't know. And this is why we're saying, let's be community people who ask for help. You're in a place where you're stuck, ask for help. Don't wait until you've crashed. Ask for help early. You know, even when you're thinking, I think we got this. We don't need help. Actually, that's when you need help. That's the best time to ask for help. When you've not crashed yet or you're not in pain yet. That's the best time to look for counsel. And so I think for me, it's my encouragement. I love the report of Pastor James of a whole discipleship group that went to the Back to Basics retreat. It tells me there's a discipler in that group who decided my people are not being left behind. And we are all going. Well done, Victoria, whoever it was who grabbed that whole group and said, let's all go together. We must become that community where no one is left behind and where we hold each other's hands and we say, let's go, you know? And then we must also be people who are not afraid to ask for help. Let's be people who are constantly seeking for wisdom, divine intervention. Amen.
Yeah. Nina asked if she said she knows she doesn't know. And I think she had asked about hookups. She's open to hookups. Yes.
All right, hookups. Okay, well, now that you asked, we're actually, there's actually a plot underfoot. And I think it was somebody here who actually said people should be hooking up in people in Mavuno Church. So some of these Epic Connections event. And I think I heard you guys say you want to do it for your disciples, like people who are already leading discipleship groups in discipleship. And so keep an eye out for that. Nudge your pastor and tell them, I'm hearing about connections. Are you putting my name in there? So that's going to be happening. And I think our prayer is that this will be a culture where we're able to say, let's connect. Because I don't know. I can actually get the help I need if I need the help. And so that's something we're doing. We're going to be doing Doorfest as well. And again, that's another place to say, I don't know. And come, let's learn together. You might have been married 30 years, 50 years. You might have been married 2 years or just getting married. But wherever you are, you don't know what you don't know. That's the thing I've come to understand. I might know something, but I don't know what I don't know. And sometimes the reason I go into places like this is because I even want to know what I don't know. then I can get into the process of knowing what I should be knowing. Because when I don't know what I don't know, then I don't even look for the knowledge I should be having. Oh gosh, this is so deep. So guys, make sure that you're connecting each other. Like we're getting into that space. So we talked about two takeouts. We said number one, join the 4:30 prayers the rest of this year, as long as we're having them, because we're going to have them the whole of October, the next 2 weeks of October, and the whole of November. So it's just about 6 more weeks. And if you just commit that I'm going to be there every time, and get there early. I'm encouraging, get there like 10 minutes before and plan your day. Like, come into the prayer time with your day ahead of you. So you even know what you're going to be praying for when you're praying. As people are doing intercession and supplication, you already know what you're going to be praying for because you already have the things. You're not thinking about them as we're praying because you planned ahead. You know that you don't know and you're coming into your day asking for help. And then number two, as we get into our discipleship group today, what are the 4 areas of our lives? Faith, relationships, health, finances. Faith, relationships, health, finances. Which are the areas you're most in danger of relying on your own wisdom? So just share that with your group. This is the area I see that I can easily go off the rail with this one. And then how do I begin to actively surrender? What am I going to do to actively surrender that area to God? So hey, folks, our time is over. My goodness, I think this conversation we even forgot the time. We're having so much fun. I hope it's been a blessing to you as well. I hope there's something you've picked out of this that will be life-changing. As you go into your discipleship groups, we want to speak blessing over you. May the Father go before you. May you have such amazing, life-giving conversations. May He just open doors for you. May anywhere you've been stuck, I speak prophetically over you that the Lord is about to bring supernatural wisdom your way. And the unstuckness is coming your way. That even before the end of this year, for some of you who've been stuck even for years in certain situations, the Lord is going to open those doors supernaturally as you seek Him for wisdom. And you will rejoice in understanding how simple and yet how powerfully profound God's wisdom is. I declare over you that you will have testimonies to share over this next 6 weeks in prayer. Every time they ask for testimonies, may the Lord give you ample things to share because of how amazingly good He has been to you. And so God's people, we bless you now in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. And God's people say it together. Amen. Amen and amen. Wow.
First step, had to go out on my own, leave the bird's nest. Leap of faith, but my wings didn't work yet. Fell to the ground and the pain was the worst yet. Yeah, that's a lesson I ain't learned yet. Straight I ain't earned yet. Gotta get knocked down twice, so the third gon' hurt less. Got to the church steps, couldn't take the first step. I need help, I need some guidance, somebody controlling it. Put it right next to my bed and I said that I'd read it. The truth is I ain't even open it. If I'm being honest, I don't even pray. I need somebody to show me the way. I need somebody to tell me that nothing is wrong with me, saying that I need help. Everything around me is falling to pieces. I cannot even remember what pieces. Feel like I'm slipping right into the deep end. Looking for reasons. I needed help. I said it, what's step 2? Got me looking for the next move. Cause they keep saying that I could be rescued. The chains could be let loose, says who? Boxed it away with the stress through. Put a lock in a chain, but it crept through. And yeah, I got regrets too. Got a lot of things I could confess to. I put it in a letter, but I don't know who to send to. Pride, that's my ego. Thinking I'm my own God. Yes, I had a dethrone. Thought I had it in control till I hit a steep slope. Thought I had the tree of life, never let the seeds grow. All I needed was some hope. All along had it right next to my bed. Opened the book with my son and I read in the hopes that one day that he doesn't feel shame when he says,